The day Earth's children learned to hunt, Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of Terra's Pride and watched the stars drift past the main view screen. Her ship was a massive cargo vessel, one of thousands that moved goods between human colonies and alien worlds. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of engines and the occasional beep from monitoring stations. Elena was 45 years old with silver-streaked black hair and steady brown eyes that had seen 3 decades in space. Her crew of 30 humans worked efficiently at their posts, managing the complex systems that kept their ship running. Elena had been born on Earth but spent most of her adult life traveling between the stars. She remembered when humans first joined the galactic community 3 centuries ago. The alien species had welcomed them as useful workers and traders. Humans were good at fixing things, growing food, and building structures. They were peaceful and reliable. The galaxy needed workers, and humans needed a place among the stars. Dr. Marcus Chen sat at the engineering station, monitoring the ship's systems. He was a thin man with quick hands and intelligent eyes who could repair anything that broke. Marcus had served with Elena for 15 years and understood every system on their ship better than anyone else. He often worked late into the night, improving their equipment and studying alien technology. Marcus was curious about everything, always asking questions and looking for better ways to do things. Lieutenant Sarah O'Brien handled communications from her station near the captain's chair. She was 28 years old with red hair and freckles, the youngest officer on the bridge. Sarah had grown up on a colony world and joined Elena's crew 5 years ago. She was excellent at her job, managing dozens of communication channels and keeping track of shipping schedules across multiple star systems. Sarah could speak 7 alien languages fluently and understood the complex protocols that governed interstellar trade. The peaceful morning routine ended when Sarah's communication board started flashing red warning lights. She looked at the incoming signals and her face went pale. "Commander," she said in a quiet voice, "I'm receiving emergency broadcasts from New Geneva Colony." Elena walked over to Sarah's station. New Geneva was a human agricultural world with 800,000 residents. Families lived there in small towns surrounded by vast farms that grew food for dozens of worlds. Children attended schools, parents worked in the fields, and grandparents told stories about Earth. It was one of the most peaceful places in human space. "What kind of emergency?" Elena asked. Sarah's fingers moved across her controls, filtering through the chaotic transmissions. The main screen changed to show a recorded message from New Geneva. A man with burns on his face and smoke behind him was speaking into a camera. "This is Governor Williams of New Geneva Colony. We are under attack by unknown military forces. Orbital bombardment has destroyed our capital city. Ground forces are landing. We have no military defense. Please send help immediately." The message cut off with the sound of explosions in the background. Sarah received more transmissions from New Geneva, each one more desperate than the last. The colony's communication grid was failing. People were screaming for help. The attacks were systematic and brutal. Elena felt something cold settle in her stomach. She had never seen war before. Humans had been peaceful for 3 centuries, focusing on trade and exploration rather than military conquest. The galaxy was supposed to be civilized. There were rules and treaties that prevented this kind of attack. "Sarah, are you getting signals from other colonies?" Elena asked. Sarah checked her screens and nodded grimly. "Commander, I'm also receiving distress calls from Harvest Station and Eden's Gate. Same pattern. Orbital bombardment followed by ground. Invasion. The attack signatures match Krillian Empire vessels." Elena knew about the Krillians. They were a reptilian species that controlled a large military empire on the far side of the galaxy. They were aggressive and believed that strong species should dominate weak ones. The Krillians had been expanding their territory for decades, but they had never attacked human colonies before. The Galactic Council usually prevented major conflicts through diplomacy and economic pressure. Marcus looked up from his engineering station. "Commander, I'm monitoring Galactic Council frequencies. They're aware of the attacks, but they're still debating the appropriate response. The Nexari delegation wants to send a diplomatic protest. The Altarian representatives are calling for economic sanctions. Nobody is talking about military intervention. Elena felt anger building in her chest. 3 human colonies were being destroyed while alien politicians debated proper procedures. Nearly 2.5 million human civilians lived on those worlds. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, and engineers. They had families and dreams and futures that were being torn away by Krillian weapons. How long will the council debate take? Elena asked. Based on previous emergency sessions, probably 3 to 4 weeks, Marcus replied. They have to follow proper diplomatic protocols. Elena made a decision that would change everything. She walked to the center of the bridge and looked at her crew. Every person there was human. Every person there had joined the merchant service to help their people build a better life among the stars. Every person there understood what was happening to their colonies. Sarah, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them that Commander Elena Vasquez is activating Protocol Lazarus under Article 7 of the Colonial Defense Act. Sarah stared at her captain. Commander, I don't know what Protocol Lazarus is. I've never heard of Article 7. Marcus looked up from his station with curiosity in his eyes. Elena, what are you talking about? We're a cargo ship. We don't have military protocols. Elena walked to her command console and entered a complex authorization code that she had memorized decades ago, but never expected to use. The ship's computer accepted the code and asked for biometric confirmation. Elena placed her hand on a scanner and looked into a retinal reader. The computer analyzed her identity and activated systems that had been dormant for centuries. Warning lights flashed throughout. The ship's hidden panels opened in the walls. Equipment that looked like standard cargo handling systems began to reconfigure itself. The ship's peaceful exterior was changing, revealing the true nature that had been hidden beneath. Elena, what's happening to our ship? Marcus asked as he watched his engineering displays show systems that had never existed before. Marcus, do you remember the history lessons about Earth's early space exploration? Elena asked. Do you remember why humans spread across the galaxy so quickly after first contact? Marcus nodded. Earth was overcrowded and running out of resources. Humans needed new places to live. That's what the aliens were told, Elena said. But that wasn't the complete truth. Humans had just finished fighting the bloodiest war in our history. World War III had killed over 1 billion people and left Earth's surface scarred. The human governments realized that our species was too dangerous to keep confined to one planet. We needed space to spread out, but we also needed to be prepared for threats. The ship shuddered as new systems came online. Sarah's communication station was now displaying tactical information instead of shipping schedules. Marcus's engineering controls were showing weapon systems and defensive screens. The cargo ship Terra's Pride was transforming into something that had never been seen in the galaxy. Every human ship that left Earth carried hidden military systems. Elena continued. Every colony was equipped with defensive capabilities. Every human in space was trained for combat, even if they didn't know it. We've been preparing for war for 300 years while pretending to be peaceful traders. Marcus stared at his displays in amazement. Elena, these systems are incredible. This isn't just human technology. Some of these designs are centuries ahead of anything the aliens have. We've been learning from every species we met, Elena explained. Human engineers studied alien technology and improved it. Human scientists took their discoveries and made them better. While the galaxy thought we were fixing their machines, we were actually understanding their weaknesses. Sarah's station beeped with an incoming transmission. Commander, I'm receiving a coded message from Earth Command. They're confirming activation of Protocol Lazarus. All human vessels are being upgraded to military status. They're transmitting tactical data about Krillian fleet movements. Elena looked at the tactical display and saw the truth. The attacks on New Geneva, Harvest Station, and Eden's Gate were not random raids. They were the beginning of a coordinated campaign to eliminate human presence in that sector of space. The Krillians had studied human colonies and identified them as easy targets. They planned to test human resolve with these attacks before launching a larger invasion. The Krillians made a mistake, Elena said quietly. They thought we were prey. They're about to learn that humans have never been prey. We've always been predators. Elena turned to her crew. All hands, this is the captain. We are no longer a cargo vessel. We are now the HSS Terra's Pride. a hunter-killer ship of the Earth Defense Force. Our mission is to find and destroy the Krillian forces that attacked our colonies. Anyone who wants to transfer off this ship can do so at the next space station, but anyone who stays is going to war. Not one person asked to transfer. Sarah began tracking Krillian fleet movements using sensors that could detect ships from light years away. Marcus optimized the ship's new systems, turning a peaceful cargo hauler into a stealth predator. The MIU crew worked with efficiency and determination that surprised even Elena. The galaxy was about to learn something terrifying about humans. For 3 centuries, they had been living next to apex predators who had been patiently waiting, learning, and preparing. The hunt was about to begin. When prey becomes predator. The HSS Terra's Pride moved through space like a ghost, its stealth systems hiding it from enemy sensors. Elena stood on the bridge and watched the tactical display show the location of the Krillian fleet that had destroyed New Geneva colony. 17 enemy ships were moving in formation toward their next target, confident that no human military force existed to stop them. General Thax commanded the Krillian assault fleet from his flagship, the dominant Fang. He was a massive reptilian, warrior with dark scales and intelligent yellow eyes. Thax had conquered 12 worlds for the Krillian Empire and had never lost a battle. He viewed humans as weak creatures who would surrender after losing a few colonies. The general planned to capture human worlds and use their agricultural output to feed Krillian expansion. Admiral Zephyr of the Galactic Council had been monitoring the situation from her command ship. She was a tall, elegant alien with blue skin and 4 arms who had served the Council for 50 years. Zephyr believed that diplomacy could solve any conflict. She had sent several messages to the Krillian Empire requesting negotiations, but General Thax had ignored them all. Elena watched her tactical display and planned her attack. The Krillian fleet was spread out over several million kilometers, moving slowly toward the human colony of Prosperity. Each enemy ship was larger and more heavily armed than Terra's Pride, but Elena was not planning a direct confrontation. "Marcus, what's the status on our new weapon systems?" Elena asked. Dr. Marcus Chen looked up from his engineering station with excitement in his eyes. "Commander, these systems are incredible. Our main weapons can punch through any armor in the galaxy. The targeting computers can track hundreds of objects simultaneously. And the most amazing part is the quantum torpedoes." "Explain the quantum torpedoes," Elena said. "They don't travel through normal space," Marcus explained. "They phase through solid matter until they reach their target, then rematerialize inside the enemy ship. No shields or armor can stop them. The Krillians have never seen anything like this technology." Sarah O'Brien was monitoring communication channels when she detected something interesting. "Commander, I'm intercepting Krillian military communications. Their fleet is maintaining radio silence, but they're using quantum entanglement transmitters. To coordinate their movements, I can track their signals." Elena smiled grimly. The Krillians were using advanced technology, but they didn't understand that humans had been studying quantum physics for centuries. Sarah's equipment could not only intercept their communications, but also trace them back to individual ships. "Sarah, can you identify their command vessel?" Elena asked. "Yes, Commander. The largest ship is General Thax's flagship. He's been sending orders to the other vessels about their next attack plan. They're planning to hit Prosperity Colony in 6 hours. Elena made her decision. "All hands battle stations. We're going to show the Krillians what happens when you hunt humans." The Terra's Pride changed course and accelerated toward the enemy fleet. Its stealth systems kept it invisible to Krillian sensors. Elena had studied the attack patterns used against New Geneva and understood how the enemy operated. They would come out of hyperspace in a coordinated formation, bombard the planet, from orbit then land troops to capture survivors. It was a brutal but effective strategy against defenseless colonies. But Elena was not going to let them reach Prosperity. The human ship approached the edge of the Krillian formation and began its attack. The first quantum torpedo materialized inside a Krillian destroyer, tearing the ship apart from within. The explosion was so sudden that the enemy crew had no time to send a distress signal. The destroyer simply vanished from the fleet's sensors. General Thax was reviewing attack plans on his flagship when one of his ships disappeared. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Scar, reported the loss with confusion. "General, the piercing." Talon has stopped responding. "Their ship is gone." "Gone?" Thax asked. "What do you mean, gone?" "I mean it's not there anymore, sir. One moment it was in formation, the next moment it was debris." Thax studied his tactical display but saw no enemy. Ships. His fleet's sensors showed empty space around them. There was no sign of attackers or weapons fire. Ships did not simply disappear in the middle of space. 2 more Krillian vessels exploded within the next 5 minutes. Each destruction was silent and sudden, leaving only wreckage and confused survivors. The enemy fleet began to panic as they realized they were being hunted by an invisible predator. Elena watched the enemy formation break apart as the Krillian ships tried to find their attacker. "Sarah, are you still monitoring their communications?" "Yes, Commander. General Thax is ordering his ships to spread out and search for the threat. He's never encountered stealth technology this advanced. They're firing randomly into empty space hoping to hit something. Marcus, prepare the main weapons array. It's time to show them what real firepower looks like." The Terra's Pride dropped its stealth field and appeared directly in the center of the Krillian formation. Its main energy weapons charged with power that made the ship's hull glow with dangerous light. Elena's ship was smaller than the enemy vessels, but it carried technology that was centuries more advanced. The human ship opened fire with weapons that had been designed by the greatest minds of Earth. Energy beams that could cut through neutronium struck Krillian battleships and sliced them in half. Particle cannons that manipulated atomic forces turned enemy armor into harmless gas. The Krillians had brought conventional weapons to fight an opponent that had mastered physics itself. General Thax watched in horror as his mighty fleet was destroyed by a single human ship. His weapons could not penetrate the enemy's shields. His armor could not withstand the enemy's attacks. His sensors could barely track the human vessel as it moved through his formation like a deadly dancer. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessel," Thax ordered. "Every weapon, maximum power." 17 Krillian ships fired everything they had at the Terra's Pride. Energy beams, plasma bolts, kinetic projectiles, and fusion missiles filled the space around Elena's ship. The attack was powerful enough to destroy a small moon, but the human defensive systems absorbed or deflected every shot. Elena's ship was protected by barriers that bent space and time around it. Energy weapons were redirected into parallel dimensions. Physical projectiles were caught in temporal loops that sent them back toward their own sources. The Krillians were fighting an enemy that had learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. "Marcus, power up the planet cracker cannon," Elena ordered. Marcus's eyes widened. "Commander, are you sure? That weapon has never been tested in combat." "I'm sure. It's time to end this." The Terra's Pride's hull opened to reveal a weapon that was the size of a small building. The planet cracker cannon was humanity's ultimate achievement in destructive technology. It could focus the energy of a star into a beam no wider than a pencil. It was designed to break apart asteroids for mining, but Elena was going to use it for a different purpose. The cannon fired once. The beam struck General Thax's flagship and continued through the ship as if it weren't there. The dominant fang didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, converted into pure energy, and scattered across space. The surviving Krillian ship stopped firing. Their crews stared at the place where their flagship had been and realized they were facing something beyond their understanding. These were not the weak, peaceful humans they had expected to fight. These were apex predators who had been hiding their true nature for centuries. Elena opened a communication channel to the enemy fleet. "This is Commander Elena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force. You attacked our colonies. You killed our people. You made the mistake of thinking that humans were prey." The main screen showed the interior of a Krillian command ship. The enemy captain was a scarred warrior with broken tusks and fearful eyes. He had served in the Krillian military for 40 years and had never seen technology like this. "We surrender," the Krillian captain said. "Please, we surrender." "Surrender is not enough," Elena replied. "You need to understand what you've awakened. For 300 years, Humans have been living peacefully among the stars. We've been your traders, your workers, your builders. We've been watching, learning, and preparing. Elena's tactical display showed new contacts appearing throughout the sector. Other human ships were dropping their stealth fields and revealing themselves. Cargo vessels, mining ships, passenger transports, and research vessels were all transforming into military craft. The galaxy was suddenly full of human warships that had been hiding in plain sight. Every human ship carries weapons, Elena continued. Every human colony has defensive systems. Every human in space has been trained for war. We've been the apex predators of Earth for millions of years, and we brought that heritage with us, to the stars. Sarah was monitoring communications from across human space. Commander, I'm receiving reports from other fleets. Over 300 human ships have been activated under Protocol Lazarus. The Krillian Empire is under attack from a dozen different directions. Elena nodded. The galaxy thought humans were weak because we chose to be peaceful. They mistook our restraint for inability. Today they learn the difference. The Terra's Pride began broadcasting on all frequencies, sending a message that would reach every world in the galaxy. Elena's voice carried across the stars, announcing the end of one era and the beginning of another. This is Commander Elena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force, speaking to all species in the galactic community. For 3 centuries, humanity has been a peaceful member of this galaxy. We have followed your laws, respected your customs, and worked to build a better future for all species. But our peaceful nature has been mistaken for weakness. Elena paused as she watched more Krillian ships explode in the distance, destroyed by other human vessels that had joined the hunt. Today, the Krillian Empire made the fatal mistake of attacking human colonies and killing human civilians. They have awakened something that has been sleeping in human DNA for millions of years. We are the apex predators of our homeworld, and we have adapted to hunt among the stars. The message continued to broadcast as human fleets across the galaxy began their systematic destruction of Krillian military forces. Ships that had been disguised as peaceful merchants revealed themselves as deadly hunters. The galaxy's balance of power was shifting in real time. Let this be a warning to all who would threaten humanity, Elena concluded. We are not your prey. We never were. We are the hunters who came from a world where only the strongest survived, and we have learned everything we need to survive among the stars. The age of peaceful humanity is over. The age of the silent hunters has begun. The Terra's Pride turned away from the wreckage of the Krillian fleet and set course for the next target. Across the galaxy, hundreds of human ships were beginning the hunt that would reshape the balance of power among the stars. The galaxy had created its own predators, and now it was time to face the consequences. The silent hunters were awake, and nothing would ever be the same.